Hey guys, Sean here with the VM Media Group, and this video is the unboxing of the Logitech MX Master wireless mouse, the successor to the Logitech Performance MX. Alright, so here inside the Amazon box, you can see we have the usual air, a little less air than usual, and then we have the Logitech MX Master wireless mouse. Go ahead and put the Amazon box aside and take this out of the plastic. Now we'll just go over the box. And to the front, it does say MX Master wireless mouse. At the top it says Logitech. On the left side it tells you what's in the box. We have the MX Master wireless mouse itself, the unifying receiver which can support up to 6 Logitech devices, the micro USB cable for recharging the Logitech MX Master wireless mouse, and the user documentation and paperwork. And the back tells you that it is the precision instrument for masters of their craft. So it features the smart speed adaptive scroll wheel, which is similar to how it was on the Performance MX with Hyper Scroll. It has the thumb wheel instead of the buttons on the side of the Performance MX, and it has advanced power management should last up to 40 days compared to the predicted 30 days of the Logitech Performance MX. And on the other side it says dual connectivity, where you can connect via the included Logitech unifying receiver or via the Bluetooth, which is Bluetooth Smart, which is similar to Bluetooth 4.0. You can pair up to 3 connections total, and that does include the unifying receiver, so it's not the unifying receiver and 3 Bluetooth connections, it's just 3 in general. If you use the unifier, you have 2 Bluetooth connections, and then it tells you the same thing down there in a different language. If you open the front of the box, you can see we have the bottom of the mouse here, featured with this brief instructions on how to actually set it up, and the mouse itself right here, and the Logitech unifying receiver. This box is actually very lightweight, so we will go ahead and just cut the tape and get it open. There we go there. Go ahead and just pull it out of the box. Okay, so inside we have the mouse itself and the unifier. If we flip it upside down, you can see that we have the documentation. So we'll go ahead and see what's inside of here. So you just have it says MX Master wireless mouse. It's kind of like a quick start guide basically. Inside you just see it basically just gives you a summary of what the mouse does and its features. And then we have the important safety, compliance, and warranty information. We'll put that off to the side. Here we have our USB cable for recharging, and this is a flat, more traditional USB or mini USB cable in comparison to the more unique design that they used on the charging cable with the Logitech Performance MX, which is right here. And then we flip it over and we have the mouse itself. So in here we just have the mouse, which does feel, I can already tell this feels better than the Performance MX, and that's really saying a lot, honestly. It definitely feels lighter than the Performance MX, but we'll go to a comparison shortly. And here we have the unifier, which is basically exactly the same as every other Logitech unifier. Now we'll do a little comparison. Alright, so in front here we have the Logitech MX Master wireless mouse, and over here we have the older, previous Logitech Performance MX mouse. Both are wireless, both have long battery lives, and both can be recharged. The Logitech Performance MX does have a rechargeable battery which can be removed from the bottom. The Performance MX does not have that, but instead of focusing on just features, we'll just focus on the overall design because that is really the reason you'd buy the mouse. So if you look from the back here, you can see that they are similar shape. This one has a little bit more of a hump in it, so by putting your hand on it, you can see that, or you can really just feel that your palm is kind of pushed against more, which some people may prefer. It's definitely very comfortable. And then we have the MX Master here, which does not have as much of a hump. Your hand more just kind of sits on it rather than you having to really grab it. Your hand just kind of like sits on it a little more. The only pressure you can really feel is kind of right here rather than back here. You might actually be able to kind of tell right there the little difference there. Overall, they are pretty similar. The Logitech branding has been removed. The battery indicator is now down here versus being up here as it was in the past. On the Performance MX, we have a zoom button, which is obviously reprogrammable, and a button down here, along with 2 arrow buttons here. On the MX Master, we have a scroll wheel right here, and 2 buttons. A lot of people have complained that these are actually too far back, and that this is like an awkward position, but this actually feels kind of comfortable for me, because you can just kind of put your hand on there and just push one or the other, and then the scroll wheel is right in front of it, which allows for left and right scrolling, which is done with this scroll wheel here, compared to the Performance MX, where you actually tilt the wheel left and right, which is convenient but not as convenient as just being able to use your thumb. This button right here is still a button. It seems slightly mushier rather than being clickier as it is, and you should be able to actually hear that difference. This one makes almost no sound. You can see that the buttons are more cut out on the Logitech MX Wireless versus being on the Performance MX, which has a more unified design on top. The one difference that a lot of other YouTubers seem to have missed out on, at least explaining in initial comparisons, is the hyper scrolling feature. On the Performance MX, this is actually a physical hardware thing where you can turn that on, and then it goes into hyper scroll mode, and then you can lock it, and it goes back into manual mode. On the MX Master wireless mouse, this is actually just a soft button, so it doesn't actually change anything. All of this is configured in the software. Now, some people may dislike that, I don't know why, because it actually allows you to reprogram any button to do what this button is designed to do. So you can actually use this button to do anything that you'd like to do with it with the Logitech Options software. It also has a feature, so instead of having to manually switch it, if you spin the wheel fast enough, it will switch into hyper scrolling automatically, which is configured in the Logitech Options software. That about sums up the overall comparison of the design of the mouse, which you obviously would have to try out and see which one you prefer yourself. It definitely has a little bit of a smaller feel, which I actually kind of prefer because it just feels kind of a little bit easier to grab, but this is actually still extremely comfortable, and I'm definitely going to still be using this with certain applications. But overall, that is the sides and buttons. You can hear they should sound pretty similar to click on. A little bit higher pitched sound on the MX Master. If we flip them over, you can see that they do have a very similar design. It is a flatter design on the Performance MX mouse on the left, and the dark field is more pointed out because it was a newer feature back then, and it I guess was advertised differently. It also has that removable battery plate here at the bottom, which allows you to remove and change the battery. Of course, the battery should have an extended life on the MX Master here on the right. Overall, it definitely has a much more premium look on the bottom, as you can tell. The feet are definitely longer, and it does have the button for connecting and up to 3 devices versus the 1 device, which is the Logitech Unifier on the Performance MX. And to me, at least as of now, that seems to be the most convenient feature, because I like to take my mouse to school with me because school mice are disgusting and very basic. So having to unplug the Unifier from my desktop to plug it into my Surface Pro 3 and use my single USB port at school really is inconvenient, when I could be able to just use Bluetooth on my Surface Pro 3 and use the Logitech Unifier, which is of course right here with my desktop at home, which does not have Bluetooth. That is my comparison between the Logitech Performance MX and its successor, the Logitech MX Master. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any further questions, please comment them, and please subscribe to the VM Media Group.